Welcome to part 17 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger, my story about surviving an attempted unaliving and the corruption and cover-up that ensued. Lots of A-list celebrities, politicians, and their offspring are involved in this story. So now we are still on the possible probation violation of the raid that happened at the three Driz's home, where they found a pew-pew and they found illegal white powder on rolled up dollar bills and a duffel bag of illegal green plants at that time in Sean Driz's room, like a huge amount. Could have been intent to sell. So we start off this case, and now we're back in Judge Mader's courtroom. This is the court date, October 2nd, 2017, that we were told about, because that's how you're supposed to, it's on the record. So the last hearing and the last part, that was secret. This one's on the record. This is the actual hearing where all three Driz's should have been arrested and showed up too. But only Maurice Driz's attorney was there, because Sean Driz never got arrested in the first place. I'll tell you why soon. We were told why. And Alberto is not here because Alberto was able to get Blair Burke, Harvey Weinstein's attorney, to get him a secret private hearing in the airport courthouse in a different jurisdiction. Somehow. Who knows? I'm sure it's not corruption. So we're in front of Judge Mader. Maurice's attorney is Mark Worksman, and we've got the amazing DDA who's been on this for 2 years. So we start off immediately, and the judge I'll just say it. So she goes, frankly, I'm puzzled by a lot of different things that have happened, including the fact that factually there seems to be discrepancies as to what went on. She mentions that it's in the report written by the police probation that both Driz twins, Maurice and Alberto, admitted to knowing that the pew-pew was in the house. They both agreed and said it was just a family heirloom. It's not like something you get off the streets, whatever. It's just a family heirloom. However, pew-pews have a serial number on them, and all you have to do, a police officer can just look it up in the system and you can find who the registered owner is. They did that. It was a woman who lived like an hour or two south of LA. She even came and testified at court in the next hearing. And she said, yes, she legally bought the pew-pew in the mid-90s, and then it was stolen like a few days after or something like that, really quick. And then she immediately reported it stolen when that happened. So she has nothing to do with the case, but she proves now that the twins were clearly lying about it being a family heirloom. So then the judge says, okay, well, I also find it totally bewildering about this case is that there was a new case number filed, which is SA096430. The judge then mentions, also, Alberto, in the other hearing, the secret hearing, Alberto had an attorney that apparently came right into court there and pled him, Blair Burke, who was representing Harvey Weinstein, the serial essayer. And the judge over there, Judge Schwartz, never contacted me with respect to a violation of probation and apparently handled it as his case, which is, the whole thing is rather irregular, end quote. Illegal, irregular, there's a lot of ways to describe all of this. Okay, so they just kind of go over what happened at the raid. They found all the stuff. I already went over all that stuff. And that Beverly Hills Police Department is the one who filed the separate case. So I think there should be something people should be looking into the Beverly Hills Police Department now. Okay, so Alberto actually, at this secret case where they gave him a little tappy tap on the wrist and then quoted Arnold Schwarzenegger's "I'll be back" quote to him and asked him if he knew exactly who said that, and he was like, "Yes, Your Honor." And so they gave him the super lenient sentencing. He was given 40 days, but he did 20 or 27, and then he was released for the probation violation from the other court in the different jurisdiction with a whole new slew of people running the case. So the DDA, the amazing DDA, he gets up and he actually says that he was never notified of the airport court hearing. So the judge wasn't, the DA wasn't, the victims weren't. This is so illegal. This is so dehumanizing. This is so, you have no idea how much I went through mentally and emotionally, which then affected me physically, on finding out that no matter how much evidence you have in the world, you have medical records, you have security camera footage, you have witnesses that are strangers you've never ever met testifying for you, and their words are changed so that you don't have a star witness. You have evidence. They're failing breathalyzers on felony probation. They're caught with the white powder and a loaded chambered pew-pew by a slew of officers And none of it mattered. And all I could think when I found out all of this was, I do not matter. Like, I'm less than a human being. Like, I don't know the right people. I don't have the right amount of money to fight back. I'm silenced. I'm nothing. Like, I remember thinking that every single day, watching time after time after time, watching my rights go out the window. And I remember thinking, too, that I thought, if I could find out how much the Drizzes were paying Thomas Mesereau and Mark Worksman and Blair Burke and Robert Shapiro, if I could find out how much they paid for them, that's the number. That's how much I cost. That's how much it costs to do whatever you want to my body. If you can pay that, you can get away with it, and no one will ever care. I'm all hot now. And this goes on. We're only in 2017, and I have crimes all the way up until the last week. Okay. So Maurice's attorney, Mark Worksman, then talks about how this incident, the raid, happened at Alberto's 4,000 square foot, 4-bedroom condo in Beverly Hills. Luxury, luxury, luxury. And the judge actually says, well, wait a second. I was told they're indigent. It was represented that they've lost everything. Yeah, it was. They're just pretending. So then he kind of says, well, like, he kind of like, blah, 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 like, he kind of leads her away. They always get vague when they don't want to talk about something. So what the main thing is Mark Worksman then says, well, my client Maurice, he denies ever uttering it was an heirloom. So now they're saying all the police officers that were present, the 6 Beverly Hills PD that were there, that none of them, all of them lied when they said it and wrote it into the report. The probation, everybody lied, but Maurice, trust my client, he says he never said it. So the DA's office only filed charges against Alberto. They didn't even arrest Sean. They didn't even arrest Christina Schwarzenegger's boyfriend. And I'm going to get to that. God, I wish I could I'm just going to go in chronological order as we find out things, not as I know them now. I hope that's the easier way to do this. Whatever. We're just going to do it. So then his attorney starts to kind of like name drop a little bit. And he says, look, yeah, he goes, Alberto went to court with an outstanding attorney in the secret court hearing, who I've known for many, many years with impeccable integrity, Harvey Weinstein's attorney, who is actually in court today, Blair Burke. They said that Alberto, in the other court date, was sentenced to 40 days county, but 20 was the time served. And then they decided, and then he says, and my client, Maurice, in the meanwhile, he's an observing Jew, and he's been in custody now for 26 days through Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So now they should be released because one has sleep apnea and the other one has diabetes and the other one has some holidays to get to that he's suddenly religious. So we're using these now as part of their defense. And he says that probation says that they should be given credit for time served and immediately released. Probation said his sin was really one of not inquiring or being more diligent in learning whether there was contraband in the home. That's the sin. That's a felony probation violation. So they say Alberto took full responsibility for the pew-pew. Why not? I mean, he got let off, and the judge warned him that probation will be back, just like the governor said. And the judge says, this Judge Mater says, you're right, you know what, this should be resolved. And I do agree with you. The fact that Alberto's out, Maurice should be out too. And then she says, I think that good lawyering was involved, but there was a breakdown on a lot of different levels, not only from the DA's office, but from what I can see, judicially. So she admits that something is really, really wrong in the water. We're at the end of our time in a second. So she also says, the judge says, we handle our own probation violations. And if we don't, we generally don't contact the other court and ask. So I had no idea about any of this. And then the judge says, I have no problem releasing him. I'm going to set a hearing and deal with some other discrepancies. It's all the time I have right now. I'm going to just film the other one and post it tonight. All right. Thank you guys so much. We have a lot more violations to get to.